I call the Iberia Parish Council meeting to order for May 26, 2012. The time now is 6:02. We'll have the prayer and the pledge. The prayer will be led by Councilman Marty Trahan, and the pledge will be led by Mr. Marcus Boudreaux. Mr. Trahan?
On these matters we have on the agenda tonight, dear Lord. Open our mind, open our hearts. Dear Lord, as we tackle these things ahead of us, dear Lord, give everybody a peaceful mind, dear Lord, that we all got to work in this together, dear Lord, and give us wisdom to make the right decisions, for the people, dear Lord. And forgive us where we have sinned, dear Lord, and also give us good health, dear Lord. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. Mr. Boudreaux, if you could step to the mic and state the branch of service you represent and lead us in the pledge.
Marcus Boudreaux, United States Army. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Boudreaux, for your service to our country. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Tommy Pollard.
Where's that little sheet I
Michael
had?
Landry.
Here.
Brad Davis. Lloyd Brown. Warren Dodson.
Did Mr. Brown say he's here?
Mr. Lloyd.
Hold on, Brenda, go back. Mr. Brown is here. Go ahead.
Okay, Lloyd Brown.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Warren Dodson.
Here.
Natalie Broussard.
Here.
Paul Landry.
Here.
James Strong.
Here.
Bob Rossway.
Here.
Eugene Olivier.
Here.
Brian Napier.
Here.
Lady Fournette Brown.
Here.
Wayne Collins.
Here.
Chad Montgomery.
Here.
We have 13 members in the quorum. Moving on to public comments. I'll need a motion to go into public comments. Have a motion by Councilman Tommy Pollard, a second by Councilman Michael Landry. Mr. Pollard? Mr. Pollard waives. Mr. Landry? Mr. Landry waives. Is there any comments? Hearing none. Motion. Roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. We're now in public comments. Madam Clerk, start with agenda item 1.
Comments from the general public on non-agenda items. A, Mr. Farrell Armentar to address the council regarding drainage issues on L. Armentar Road.
Mr. Armentar, if you can step to the podium and state your name for the record and your address.
Yes, sir. My name is Farrell Armentar. I live at 1716 Laurent Armentar Road in New Iberia. Unfortunately, I'm not a good public speaker, so I've prepared a little bit of a document to assist me with all this. I own 1716 Laurent Armentar Road. I own 1712 Laurent Armentar Road, and I have 6 acres of land that's currently in Kane at the very end of Armentar Road. Unfortunately, I'm not a stranger to the council. I've addressed it several times, and I've been trying to get these issues resolved for several years with no results. I've been working with Public Works for quite some time now. I've been lied to and told things like we're unable to find right-of-ways. It wasn't until DEQ came in and became involved that we were able to get anything done. Public Works told us that a solution was to redirect the natural flow of the water around the same time that DEQ became involved. Public Works redirected the flow to go uphill on Armentar Road, which we all know that that's not going to happen. The Ridge subdivision, meanwhile, they redug the ditch between Odette Hebert's property and Lawrence LeBlanc's property to flow under Armentar Road onto my property. They deepened the size of my ditch and stopped there. Nothing else was done. The Ridge subdivision, meanwhile, did as they were told. They put a 5-foot culvert and covered the drainage ditch. They placed pipes just below the ditch between the two properties. This was done after water was redirected towards my property. Now my ditch is deeper than the drain pipe crossing the street, so now there's no way that the water can drain properly. The subdivision has been elevated. The property is anywhere between 3 to 5 feet higher than the adjoining properties. The subdivision has, so there's really no place for the water to go except on our properties. To me, there would be some kind of laws protecting us from that happening, but I'm not sure about that, but we need to research that. Water has become stagnant in our ditches. Mosquitoes are horrible. My property is so saturated that you sink when you walk on my property. My mother's house, the foundation is starting to have problems, and I can attribute it all to the same drainage problems. The end of Armentar Road now floods. We've never had that problem before. It starts at my property and it floods all the way to the end. This was with the recent water that we recently had. More recently, I met with Larry Richard, and he assured us that he would get the matters taken care of. So far, we've had no results. This was during a meeting with Larry, Morty, Chad, Dexter Miguez, Scott Saunier, and Reed Boudreau, and Mr. Boudreau and Mr. Richard. It was indicated that the ditches would be redirected, which never happened. Mr. Richard also at that time wanted aerial views and an elevation done. I have no idea if that was ever done as well. I know and understand that we're just one part of the whole drainage problems that exist in the whole parish. But homes, businesses, properties, people's livelihoods are definitely being put at risk. It's really a bad situation. If permitting office has done their job by inspecting the construction of the property, which we know that that's not the case, the subdivision problems would not exist. There are now 3 ponds on the property. I anticipated that they're draining in the same ditch that we are from 2 smaller pipes that flow into the pond. I thought that the subdivision would drain into the pond and the overflow would run into the same drainage that drains us. Apparently that's not happening. In addition to that, the parish required that the subdivision people provide water studies. That's the case. Why do they need 3 ponds? Supposedly, the water studies indicated that the subdivision could handle the water flow would be okay. Apparently, that's not the case. Like I said, they now have 3 ponds. I don't think that was on the plans. I'm assuming that the same issues are happening throughout the parish. I'm assuming that people are being told things that just aren't happening, and it's time to get something done. You know, this is all happening under Mr. Richard's watch, and I feel that it's time that someone be held accountable for a viable solution until a viable solution is found and implemented. We're tired of fighting. I've also been checking with Baton Rouge to see if there's anything we can do on the state level. If that does not work, then we will probably have to go into other measures. We don't want to do that, but it's time. It's past time things get done. We're tired. We're frustrated. We're losing our homes. The value of our homes have now decreased because now my house is flooded not once but twice. I'm not in a flood zone. There's no reason other than drainage for me not to drain properly. I'm asking for your help. We really need help. And it's not just for Armentar Road, it's the whole parish. It's time something gets done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Armentar. Members, I know some of you probably want to say something or share something. We do have committee item, number 7 on Public Works. Can we hold until that happens? Is that okay with you members? Hearing no objection, we'll moving on. Madam Clerk, to item B, please.
B, Mr. Paul Landry to address the council regarding a request to the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development concerning the installation of a bridge on the service road by Genesis Pipe, which residents believe have contributed to the flooding of businesses and homes along the service road.
For the record, Madam Chair, the gentleman has relinquished his seat to take the podium. And Mr. Landry, state your name for the record and your address.
Paul Landry, 140 Plantation Drive. I work at 1424 Center Street. I represent District 7, and Warren's my best friend. You know, starting last week, with all the rain and everything, I know it stressed all of us, and I have a number of people that were calling me. And, you're trying to wrap your head around this major problem that we have. Sarah Gary, our last planning and zoning person, I remember she told me one day, y'all flat, and we just flat. And as we dig these canals to get the water out, it allows the high tide and the wind and everything put on there. I think we're heading in the right direction by putting the dams, we're doing Peoples. I don't know, I was so mad the other day, I was willing to spend the money to just drop wrap in there and make an actual dam. This past Saturday, I was at Houma, and I saw these pumps on wheels, and they just haul them around. So when you would see this water coming from the rain and everything, you just send the workers out there. Now, we had 60 people in Public Works, we're down to 30. You got 10 probably in administration, so instead of having 50 people out doing work, we're down to only 20. So that's another issue we have. But I keep driving on Highway 90 around Genesis, and they got the service road. And the bottom of Highway 90 is right here, and the bottom of the service road is way down here. So I think we need to do, like Mr. Ormentor, he has a lot of good points. And I think it needs to be some quick, decisive actions, and asking DOT to break those bridges down so the water can flow. I know Chad made the comment that they were telling him they were designed that way so that Highway 90 don't flood. Well, it's not fair to flood 100 homes just because we're worried about Highway 90 on there. We can save Highway 90 by putting those dams out at those different canals over there and everything. So I still would like to look at having the roads, the service roads busted, and see what it does. At least maybe we'll start some kind of buzz or whatever. The other thing you kind of wonder sometimes, how does all this drainage and everything come about? So we know that in Tommy's area, we have the West End, and they made this huge pump, and they pump all this water into Ormco, and it goes all the way. Well, I brought a family map. This thing must be from about 1880. And it actually shows where the Ormco would be here. It's a big swampland that took the water from the west end of New Iberia, and it followed our property line, went underneath the railroad tracks, underneath 182, and it dumped all in Spanish Lake. So to help some of those issues, I know when Tommy and them get behind with pumping, they have to shut the pump down, which ain't good for the people in the west end. What you could do is you could go out there and figure the elevation, and I don't know, let's say it's 15 feet deep. Maybe at the 8-foot level, we just come on our property, and we'll sign all the right-of-ways you want, and we just take, when the water gets to that level, you'll be diverting a bunch of it into the old wetlands of the lake back there. You won't send enough water to hurt anybody in Squirrel Run or anything, but it's a perfect area to get it. It kicks out the backside and goes out into Bayou Teche, and then it can exit the way it goes there. And I don't understand why they ever took this perfect natural drainage and they sent in another 10 miles down to join all these other canals. And that's one thing. I'm not that familiar with all that drainage part of the parish, but quickly we're all learning to. But I just think we need to come up with a couple quick things to show the people that that's what we're going to do, and do something quick and decisive. We might think that this is a Koto problem, and it's Mr. Armentor's problem, but when you have people leave, the property value decreases, a business leaves, that affects Generette and Lowerville and everybody else on that side of the parish. you know, we're already struggling with finances and things, so I just think we need to take the bull by the horn and, with the administration, you know, come up with some good clauses. I know Chad's been talking about we're starting to take a lot more, you know, water with, St. Martinville. And I think we need to have a sit-down talk. That Smead subdivision, I talked to Ms. Nelson at the convention in Baton Rouge. She imposed a 10 mil tax on her people in that district. She has $9 million in the bank that they can spend on that district alone, a mere 10 mils. It wouldn't hardly affect anybody in that area, you know, to solve the problems. We take parish equipment and we go from one district, 2 weeks later we go to another. 2 weeks ago, Ms. Nelson has all the equipment and 2 full-time employees dedicated just to her district, as well as bringing people in. She even told me this week, she got so much money that the 1% sales tax that they have on their roads, she has told the parish, I don't want any of it. So she's helping the rest of the parish with their roads because she got so much money that she can pay her own roads. So anyway, wrapping up, you know, I know this was kind of, some people wanted to put this in a committee and stuff, but I think it's time that, you know, maybe Mr. Goshasan can make a little committee, nothing official, work with the administration. And I just think we need to do something quick and decisive, because we saw what happened in New Orleans and we're seeing what's happening to Lake Charles with these hurricanes and this past rain. It could easily end up being our area over here. And remember, all the parishes in the Gulf, on the Gulf of Mexico, has some type of levee and storm structure that they either have built or in the process of building, and we have nothing. So during a major storm that comes into the Gulf, that could go into Vermilion Bay, we're really gonna have some issues. So anyway, I'll wrap it up with that, and if any of y'all have any questions, we can talk later.
Members, again, this, if it's okay with you guys, the Public Works will have item number 8 that would address this issue. If you could wait to those comments, and we can address it in, okay. Can you wait, or did you want to, you okay with that? Thank you, Mr. Strong. Madam Clerk, moving on to number 2.
Comments from the general public on agenda items. Persons being considered for appointment to parish boards and commissions to address the council.
Members, we do have Mr. Ray Freeman representing the Levy Hurricane and Conservation District here to address the council for his reappointment.
Good evening, y'all. Thank y'all for letting me speak tonight. I currently serve as one of the volunteer members of the Levy Hurricane and Conservation District, and I'm asking for reappointment. Currently, the Levy Hurricane and Conservation District, because of our financial structure, which is nil, we have not been able to do a lot other than advise, although we have been doing some advising and some consultation with the administration, and we try to do everything that we can to help overall drainage in the parish. And I know there are a lot of problems, and you know, we're just this little piece over here in the corner, and we don't do a lot, but we do what we can. So you know, all of us on the board, and I speak for all of us on the board when I say that we love Iberia Parish. We want Iberia Parish to be everything that it can be, and you know, we all grew up here, and we want it to be the best parish that we can make it. So, you know, drainage is certainly a major endeavor, and we're here to help. But I'd appreciate y'all's support on the board.
Are there any questions for Mr. Freeman? Members?
Thank you for the job you do, Mr. President.
Thank you for your service, Mr. Freeman.
Thank you.
Also, other members who are up for reappointment would be from the Waterworks District, Miss Lisa Miguez. Is she here tonight? Mr. Jody Swear. Represent the Communications District, Mr. Frank Stokes. And Miss Manny Mendoza. Hearing none of those, we'll move on. I'll need a motion to go back into regular session. Have a motion by Councilman Tommy Pollitt, second by Councilwoman Broussard. Mr. Pollitt?
Wait.
Ms. Broussard?
Wait.
Any discussion, members? Hearing none, Roll call, those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on, Madam Clerk, reports for finance and administrative actions. Number 1.
Bid calculations for mosquito control chemicals open May 13th, 2021 were in your packet. Number 2, the balance sheet for April 2021 is available on request. Number 3, the budget report for April 2021 is available on request.
Moving on to reports from parish and other government agencies. Madam Clerk.
Number 1, monthly building report for the month of April 2021 was emailed to council members.
Moving on to public works reports. Number 1, Madam Clerk.
Public Works Department reports for closed work orders dated April 14 through 27, 2021 were emailed to council members.
Moving on to special business. There is none. Moving on to council member announcements. Members? Anyone on council member announcements? Hearing none. Moving on to parish president announcement. I'm sorry. Mr. Eugene Olivier, Councilman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Warren. I want everybody know that I did attend the Police Jury Association Conference from May the 11th through the 14th of this past month. I think the conference went very well. I am president of was president of the Police Jury Association Black Caucus. I turned that position over to someone new, Mr. Johnson out of Caddo Parish on this conference on May the 11th. Also, I conducted the Highway Committee meeting during the conference, and we had a guest speaker from Baton Rouge that spoke to us about various issues on highway, state highways need to be repaired, as well as the amount of money needed for those state highways. It was a well-attended conference this year. I think everybody got a lot out of it. I knew a few other members here did attend the conference. I just want to say that it was well worthwhile attending that conference. And I encourage every council member to try to do so whenever they can. Thank you, Warren.
Thank you, Councilman Olivier, for the update. Councilman Paul Landry is recognized.
Yeah, I forgot about that. We were at the meeting, and the first meeting I went to was with Toy Taylor, and he basically told us that they are going to go to a single sales tax collector out of Baton Rouge. We talked a little bit about the spending of the federal stimulus. It's going to come half payment, then another half payment, and for this one, there will be no money for roads or bridges or anything like that. It is going to be defined there. And he talked about the $1 billion that's been, going to be sitting there for the watersheds. There's about 5 watersheds around the state. We talked about the broadband map, where they are, and they had it up on the screen. You can get an app. It's called Test It. If you get it, and when you press it, it'll show you the strength of broadband around where you live, and it reports it back to somebody. I'm not the IT guy. So, but you can see like areas like my house, it fails. And all this information is gathered by them, so around. So if you have time, test it and start hitting it, and all this data will be sent so you can find out where we need to work on that. There was a talk that there would be some funds, not forever, but to help some of the people where they can get a $10 a month broadband. They talked about the watershed, about how Acadiana, Mr. Richard, Guy Cormier, I think kind of started that off, and then we got the other 8 parishes. Then I went to Wildlife and Fisheries. Jack didn't make it. He heard Warren was coming. And then we just talked about the different things and took some recommendations. Then the last one was the broadband, and they talked about the how it's coming, and again, it is the hottest thing out there. And a couple of the things they said is don't make it political and try to get organized. They asked for like our parish, we'd get the parish, the cities, the school board, 911 community, and we would all end up, working it together.
Thank you, Councilman Landry. Councilman Landry reserves. Councilman Michael Landry is recognized.
I went to the Department of Highways that Eugene said. And the guy talked about a lot about that we gonna start going to to electric cars in the state. We're never gonna get rid of oil and gas. That's something that's never gonna happen. But they're gonna start buying electric cars. They also talking about doing a high-speed rail from Baton Rouge to New Orleans for the time being and expanding from there. And they plan on doing all this by 2030, I think. So we may be looking at something very different in the near future. Also, we went to the watershed, myself and James. They talked about mostly the dams that's up around North Louisiana, but they are looking at the drainage problems throughout the state, so that's mine.
Councilman Landry reserves. Councilman Rawson is recognized.
Real quick, this weekend, the Lorville Community Project, which we talked about last meeting, is having a Memorial Day bash. It's free for anybody that wants to come. It's 2 bands from 3 to 8:30, and all it is to get the community together. Food, everything is free. Show up. You know, we talk about the Lorville Community Project, and in Lorville we have what I think is a great community, and this is one of the sustainment projects. We get everybody together, and you make sure everybody in the community, rich or poor, can come together and have a good time. 5.5 hours, then you go to your house. And it's also a good cause for Memorial Day, you know, to thank not our current soldiers, but the ones who didn't come back.
That's right.
Good job.
Councilman Rawson reserves. Councilwoman Broussard is recognized.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate the Iberia Mental Health Initiative and the Heart for Iberia for the Bayou-Side 5K that they put on this past weekend. They had over 300 participants in that race, which is pretty incredible. For if you've attended too many of the 5Ks around here, you'll know that that's probably double what you normally have. You know, just want to thank the community for supporting it. It is Mental Health Month, the month of May. We did that proclamation earlier on. And so, you know, it's a really good cause, and I'm glad to see the support that we had for mental health. I realize that that's a huge problem, and it contributes a lot to the issues that we face in the council as far as expenses of the jail and things like that. So glad to see that it was supported, and want to congratulate those organizations.
Councilwoman Broussard reserves. Councilwoman Brown is recognized.
Yeah, I wanted to encourage everyone to visit BeTheOneToHelpSomeone.com, which is a mental health organization based out of Generate that focuses on neighborhood mental health training. And so pretty much they train individuals and assist them in assisting others when they're dealing with mental health issues. And they provide the training through NAMI, and it's free of charge, and the organization pays for individuals to get trained. I also wanted to recognize the seniors that graduated and give a big congratulations to all the seniors in the class of 2021.
Can you say that website one more time?
BeTheOneToHelpSomeone.com. It's BEE. The one, like the number one, to help someone.com.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman Brown reserves. Councilman, anyone else?
I'd like to add something.
Councilman Olivier is recognized again.
Thank you, Warren. One important thing I forgot also, during the resolution meeting at the Police-Rail Association, I sponsored a resolution directing federal policymakers to improve the evacuation routes along the Gulf Coast communities in Alabama, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas. This resolution was passed during the conference. We're now going to be sending this resolution to NACO, to the resolution committee with NACO, to also try to get it passed through the NACO organization, which will give us direct funding to Gulf Coast communities for additional funding for roads in roads and improving our evacuation routes along the Gulf Coast. Thank you.
Very informative. Councilman Olivier reserves. Council members, anyone else? Hearing no other discussion, moving on. Parish President's announcements. Mr. President.
Thank you, Warren. I'm just going to start by talking about tested, what Paul was talking about earlier in reference to broadband. This is something that this is an app that people really need to download. and test your internet service, your broadband service, because this is information that's being used for the federal government to understand who needs help and how they're going to get it. So when you get a chance, just go on and download the app, test it. Starting with the last couple of weeks with Public Works, completion works, we was cleaning culverts in District 5, 6, 8, 9, 11, and 13. We picked up debris in District 1, 2, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. We had some trees that was down in District 2 that we had to take care of, District 3, District 9, District 12, and District 14. Field drainage work was done in District 5. Roadside drainage work was done in District 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 13, and 14. We had some road grading work to be done that we did in District 10 and 14. We had some limestone work in District 3, 9, and 11. Road patching in District 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Road repairs in District 8 and 11. Shoulder work in District 2, 9, 10, and 14. And we had to cut some trees and or trim some trees in District 13 and 14. I want to just give a quick little report out in reference to some of the work that's being done in Public Works as far as using the slash buster and things like that. Typically, I give this information out at Parish President's Report, and you know we didn't have one last year due to COVID, but I want to let you guys understand where we are. As far as slash busting in Iberia Parish, and that's the removal of the trees in the parish and the right-of-way areas, we have done some 57.34 miles of slash busting. And what we did is we got with the engineering companies to give us an idea of what that equates to per foot. So that's actually $12 a foot where they're using that number as being conservative. So just so you know, the slash busting machines that we have in Public Works with the 57.34 miles equals or equates to $7,266,000 of slash busting work alone that we've done from Public Works. As far as roadside drainage, we have done 390 miles of roadside drainage in Iberia Parish. And that equates to $24 million worth of work from roadside drainage in Public Works. As far as your laterals and main channels drainage, we did 133.3 miles, $16.9 million. And this is all Public Works with the people that we currently have. Now, most of you, or all of you know that back in 2015, we had roughly 60 and a few people working in Public Works, and right now we have a little bit more than 30. And so just so you guys know that Public Works they're putting out some serious work. I guess I have 5 other pages of stuff that I'm going to talk about, but we may get to talk some about it during committee. So I'm going to end with this here right now on this report from the Parish President. Thank you so much.
Are there any questions for the President? Councilman Napier is recognized.
So, Mr. Richard.
Yes, sir.
If you're going to be in committee for
Yeah.
the whole committee meetings? Okay,
Yeah.
because I had a couple of things for you, but if you're going to be there, I'll wait.
I'll be there.
The Councilman reserves.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other council members? Thank you, Mr. Richard.
Thank you.
Moving on to consent agenda items for public hearing and adoption. Madam Clerk?
Minutes, regular meeting of April 24th, 2021, regular meeting of May 5th, 2021. Summary number 80, introduced by Paul Landry, District 7, a resolution expressing support for a proposed application of Project Shoulder for an industrial tax exemption contract. Summary number 81, introduced by Parish President, a resolution amending the 2021 royalty fund budget in the amount of $2,593,602 to provide for federal grant revenues combined with homeowner revenues to elevate 15 homes. Summary number 82, introduced by Parish President, a resolution amending the 2021 royalty fund budget in the amount of $266,000 to provide for grant revenues combined with local revenues from the City of New Iberia to purchase 5 generators. Summary number 83, introduced by Lloyd Brown, a resolution of condolences to the family of Mr. Charles Richard, brother of Parish President M. Larry Richard, who passed away on May 9, 2021. Summary number 84, introduced by Communications District, a resolution of commendation, and appreciation to Iberia Parish Communications District Public Safety Telecommunications.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Brown. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Landry, Paul Landry. Councilman Brown. Mr. Brown waves. Mr. Landry. Mr. Paul Landry waves.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
I was about to, I got two of them.
Okay, let's recognize Mr. Napier. Mr. Napier, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to remove summary 81 and 82.
80.
Are there any?
Well, 82, yeah, 80, 81, 82.
Okay. Are there any other discussion on those that are not removed? Is there any additional ones that would like to be removed? Hearing none, hearing no discussion, I'll have a roll call on everything but 80, 81, and 82. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 80, introduced by Paul G. Landry, District 7. Madam Clerk.
A resolution expressing support for a proposed application of Project Soda for an industrial tax exemption contract.
Do I have a motion? Have a motion by Councilwoman Broussard, a second by Councilman Marty Trahan. Councilwoman Broussard?
I believe Mr. Shealy would like us to table this agenda item till June 23rd and turn the floor over to him.
I'll hold that table for a second, and if you waive. Is there any discussion on the agenda item before we table and go to Mr. Shealy? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Shealy?
Yeah, the good news is that a confidential industrial tax exemption application has been made to the Louisiana Department of Commerce and Industry. They will be taking the matter up on June the 23rd. So the company has asked that we table that till June the 23rd. We should know something in the morning, and you'll have the results in the evening, and you'll, at that point in time, also be able to publicly identify the company.
Good. Good. The councilwoman has a pending amendment to table. Do I have a second? I have a second by Councilman Michael Landry. Is there any discussion on the table? Hearing no discussion, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion passes unanimously. Again, that's going to be tabled to the June 23rd meeting. Moving on to summary number 81, introduced by the parish president. Madam Clerk?
A resolution amending the 2021 royalty fund budget in the amount of $2,593,602 to provide for federal grant revenues combined with homeowner revenues to elevate 15 homes.
Do I have a motion, members? Motion by Councilman Napier, second by Councilman Marty Trahan. Councilman Napier?
And the only reason I pulled this is just so that the public would understand that it's not really, and maybe Mr. Richard, if you'd explain it, from what I understand, there's no money actually coming out the royalty fund.
Oh, no. This is just running through the,
Explain
okay.
that.
This is money that's actually going to be funded, passed through the royalty funds for homes that have been substantially flooded or repetitively flooded in several times or whatever. Federal dollars that we actually get. We have 15 homes that's going to be elevated, and the federal government, of course, paid their part. And the homeowners in some cases may pay 10%, some may pay a bit more. And even some homeowners may not, in some cases, may not have to pay anything. But I think in this case, the maximum we had was 10%? Or the minimum we had was 10%?
I think we had a few homes, sir, that were eligible for 90% federal funding.
So they paid 10.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Just a pass-through.
Councilman Napier?
Yeah, I just wanted, it's.
And this is a great thing. And this is a great
It's a great thing, and it's not coming out of our pocket.
Right, and this is something that's done annually. So Prescott Marshall, I wish I would have seen your press. I would have told you to go to the mic. But this is something we're already starting for next year. We have people calling in right now for this
Good.
project, for this program
Very
next
good.
year.
Does that satisfy the councilman?
Yes,
Thank
thank you, Mr.
Councilman
Chairman.
Napier reserves.
Thank you.
Councilman Trahan? Councilman Trahan waives. Is there any other discussion, members? Hearing none, roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 82, introduced by the parish president. Madam Clerk?
A resolution amending the 2021 royalty fund budget in the amount of $266,000 to provide for grant revenues combined with local revenues from the city of New Iberia to purchase 5 generators.
Move.
Do I have a motion?
Move.
Motion by Councilman Napier. Second by Councilwoman Broussard. Councilman Napier?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So again, Mr. Richard, if you would explain, I think it's more or less the same
Nope,
thing, a
it's-
different item, but
That,
same thing.
right.
Yeah.
Basically, we have 5 generators that the city of New Iberia is going to get. The money comes to Iberia Parish, and we actually funnel this through Prescott's office as well. So this is just generators that the city of New Iberia is going to be receiving. The funds come to Iberia Parish, Prescott do his magic, and mysteriously, we end up with generators.
One of those generators also goes to the
Sewer district.
joint sewer
Right.
project. That's a permanent generator.
Good.
It's going to be used at the sewer plant.
Very good.
So again, this is, these are dollars that's not coming from our budget. These are dollars that we continue to try to, someone was talking to me earlier today about grants and are we receiving grants or do we apply for grants? We're constantly applying for grants. And I was mentioning to that particular person that most of the projects that you see going on in Iberia Parish right now is from grants.
Yeah.
All the way from the 3212 road and the roundabout, those are grants. The 675 project that we're going to do, that's grants. These generators are grants. The housings, all of those projects are grants, because if we wasn't doing grant projects right now, we wouldn't be doing projects. So anyway,
Very
thank you. I
good.
hope I
Does that
answered your
satisfy the
question.
Councilman?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Mr.
Councilman Napier
Chairman. Thank you,
reserves,
Mr. Richard.
Thank
Councilwoman
you.
Broussard.
Wade.
Councilwoman Broussard waves. Is there any other discussion, members? Hearing none. Roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to ordinances introduced for public hearing and adoption. There is none. Resolutions introduced for public hearing and adoption. Summary number 85, introduced by the Fire Protection District Number 1. Madam Clerk?
A resolution amending the 2021 Fire Protection District Number 1 funds budget in the amount of $13,328 to appropriate funding for the new fire hose to replace the existing fire hose sections that failed annual testing, also be funded from the fund balance previous year.
Do I have a motion? Have a motion by Councilman Paul Landry, a second by Councilman Michael Landry. Mr. Paul Landry? Mr. Landry waves. Mr. Michael Landry? Mr. Michael Landry waves. Any discussion, members? Hearing no discussion, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 86, introduced by Marty Trahan, District 13. Madam Clerk?
A resolution requesting the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development to perform a traffic study at the intersection of Louisiana Highway 14, Center Street, and Claude Viator Road.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Marty Trahan, second by Councilman Rossini. Mr. Trahan?
Yes, they have several people through the years have got killed at this intersection, and I'm just requesting that they do a traffic study, and maybe put a caution light at that intersection, or whatever they come up with.
Councilman Trahan reserves. Councilman Scott waves. Any other discussion? Mr. Richard?
What you want at that intersection. If you want a caution light, get it in the resolution so I can actually request, if that's what you want to say. Yeah, so just say caution light in your resolution is what I'm saying. So I can make sure that when we write that letter, we say that.
Let them decide.
Or do you want to do that?
I have a
Do
problem
you
with
want
the
to do a
study.
study?
Let them come back.
Okay, that's good. I just want to make sure we give you what you want.
Right.
That's good.
Is that okay with you, Mr. Trahan?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Mr. Richard, are you done? Mr.
Right.
Richard's
Thank you.
reserves?
The intersection has killed several people from
Right.
my district, okay?
I think she just needs one clarification on what you want to study.
A study for
The traffic act.
appropriate traffic signals. Thank you.
There you go.
Okay.
Warning devices. or
Any other discussion, members?
All right.
Roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 87, introduced by Regional Planning Commission. Madam Clerk?
A resolution granting preliminary plat approval to our petition of property belonging to Theodore C. Livingston Jr. et al., located near the intersection of Shasta Road, Track B, and Graceland Drive, Track A, to create 2 lots designated as Track A and Track B, District 14, subject to compliance
step
with
up,
Planning
Reed.
Commission staff report PC 2021-0007, all as reviewed and recommended by the Iberia Parish Regional Planning Commission.
Do I have a motion, members? Motion by Mr. Mathurin, and a second by Mr. Napier. Mr. Mathurin?
Mr. Boudreau.
All right, so the owners of this property, there's some heirs of Theodore Livingston. There's, I think, 5 of them. One of the heirs lives in New Jersey. She would like to build a home and come move home, so they're partitioning the property so that she can purchase or they can donate that portion of it to her, and the other heirs can continue to own the remaining portion of it.
Mr. Mathurin? Mr. Mathurin yields. Mr. Napier?
Mr. Reed did a good job.
Mr. Napier waives. Any other discussion, members? Hearing none, roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion passes unanimously. Moving on to ordinances introduced for publication. Summary number 5117, introduced by the legal counsel. Madam Clerk?
An ordinance approving, authorizing, fixing, and imposing the optional cost provided for in Louisiana Revised Statute 40-2266.1 against every defendant who is convicted after trial or who enters a plea of guilty or nolo contendere, or who forfeits his bond in all criminal cases prosecuted under state statutes, parish ordinances, or city ordinances in any mayor's, city, parish, or district court in the parish to be used for the necessary expenses of the Acadiana Criminalistics Laboratory and the Acadiana Criminalistics Laboratory Commission, providing for the effective date thereof and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Do I have a motion, member? Motion by Councilman Paul Landry, second by Councilman Trahan. Mr. Landry?
Warren.
Yes, ma'am.
Warren.
Yes, ma'am.
These are ordinances introduced for publication.
Oh, I apologize. Just read them for, moving on, just read them for the record, please. Summary number 5118, introduced by Scott Rawson, District 9.
An ordinance authorizing the installation of no dumping signs on A. Rodrigue Road and B. Garbett Road located in District 9.
Summary number 5119, introduced by Regional Planning Commission.
An ordinance approving a conditional use permit to allow for the opening of a commercial dirt pit in an A1 agricultural zoning district located at the intersection of Highway 90 East and Patcherville Road, located in District 10. All is reviewed and recommended by the Iberia Parish Regional Planning Commission.
Summary number 5120, introduced by Regional Planning Commission.
An ordinance approving a conditional use permit to allow for the opening of an ARC of Acadiana Group Home in an R2 mixed residential zoning district located at 310 Central Avenue, located in District 11. All is reviewed and recommended by the Iberia Parish Regional Planning Commission.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Just to remind those that will be watching, those here tonight, the next meeting in June will be June 9th and June 23rd will be our next meetings that are scheduled for June.
Move to adjourn.
I have a adjournment by Councilwoman Broussard and a second by Councilman Napier. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no opposition. The ayes have it, and the meeting is adjourned.